You're with 9am. According to scientists, frogs are facing the greatest mass extinction since, believe it or not, the dinosaurs.
But exactly what is threatening these amphibians? Dr. Julie Summerfield joins us to explain, along with Jerry Marantelli from the Amphibian Research Centre. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, we should point out, this one's okay to handle, isn't it? This is the... Well, you tell me. Oh, what a great jump. That was a great jump.
Oh, into the water, here you go.
They can jump.
They're very safe. You can see she's got these beautiful sticky pads that allow her to hang on to trees and climb and so on. So if she jumps, she knows what she's doing.
Okay,
so
she's all right.
Don't restrain her, just let her.
Okay, just let her go.
Yeah, that's Molly.
That's
See,
Molly.
as a kid, I've got wonderful memories growing up on the Gold Coast and having green tree frogs in the front yard. And then all of a sudden, one day, they stopped.
Yeah, that's very common. Many people are reporting that to us, saying, "Oh, I had all these frogs in my garden. I had them on my farm. I had them in the dam, and now they're stopped." And that's part of what's happening worldwide with global frog decline and the crisis that we're facing right now.
Why are they so important?
Why are frogs important? Well, first, I guess they're part of the ecosystem. But if you start looking at what frogs do in the ecosystem, they're two very different animals. You've got tadpoles and you've got frogs, and they perform different functions. Tadpoles are a food for lots and lots of animals, ducks and water birds and fish and yabbies and everything that lives in wetlands. Frogs are a predator of insects and other nasties, and so they have two really distinct important functions. And tadpoles clean up a lot of bacteria and feces and waste out of rivers and keep them clean. So without the tadpoles, there's no food for the aquatic animals, there's no cleaning of the water. Without the frogs, we're going to be having insects out of control. So their place in the ecosystem is quite pivotal.
We're going to talk about a fungus has the drought had any effect on what's happened to the frogs?
I'll let...
Certainly it has, yes. Certainly the drought has had an effect, because as droughts get longer and as they get drier, the times that frogs have, or the opportunities they have to breed, are less, so the populations can't rebuild, and so they decline, and then there's drought, and they get a bit of wet weather and they can build up a little bit but not enough to sustain the next drought. So yes, drought is a major issue, and wasting water and use of water and draining all our rivers and wetlands and so on to get access to water is an issue for frogs. But on top of that, they're facing a whole bunch of other issues.
Yeah, I think, the thing is, Jerry will talk about this new disease that is threatening to cause them...
This is the fungus, isn't it?
The fungus, yes.
And what exactly is it? And what's it doing to the frogs?
Well, the fungal disease, the amphibian chytrid fungus, has spread all over the world from Africa. It originated in Africa, and because it was isolated in Africa, it became a very good frog disease. It got very good at living on the frogs of Africa, couldn't escape from Africa because of the Sahara and the northern part of Africa. And when people started moving frogs around, and one particular frog, the African clawed frog, was used for pregnancy testing. So they shipped this frog all over the world to use in pregnancy testing, and it carried with it the fungus. And as the fungus escaped into new places and met new frogs that had never seen it before, they had no resistance, and that's why we're losing many. So we've lost around 130 species worldwide of frogs at the moment, just because of that fungus, and there are thousands more
130 species
gone, including 7 in Australia. So, and many on the endangered species lists. About 1/3 of the world's amphibians are now on endangered species lists, and most of them are threatened by the chytrid fungus. So it's a very, very major issue. It's happening very quickly. In places, frogs disappear in a month, and the huge populations of frogs, the disease arrives, there's no frogs in a month.
That's the interesting thing, is that it's happening in pristine areas. Like previously, we've sort of said that it's habitat loss, and frogs are actual indicators of environmental problems and pollution and things like that, because their skin, they actually breathe through their skin, and they're very vulnerable to and fragile to all sorts of chemicals and pollution and things like that. So they're an indicator of how bad our environment is. But even, I mean, we can't be blamed for this, because apart from moving the frogs around, because it's happening in places where people don't even live.
Exactly. Now this frog's okay to handle, but you've got some other frogs over there. Do you want to tell us what they are?
These are cute, but they're not very cute.
Well, they're
terribly cute.
Except they're poisonous.
I'll put some gloves on and I'll get one of these little guys out. These are corroboree frogs, and these are one of the most threatened creatures on Earth. There's less than 100 of these left in the wild. They live on Mount Kosciuszko in Australia, so there's only one place where you'll find them.
Oh, they're stunning little frogs, aren't they?
Gorgeous.
Yeah, and these bright colours that you see are warning you that they're toxic.
Yeah.
And in fact, these little
they
frogs...
jump?
No, they don't
I
jump
was
at
saying
all.
to you earlier, they move differently to the other ones, and there's a reason for that.
Exactly what they're doing. They're just walking around. They're not trying to hide from you. They have absolutely no fear of you at all, even if you were French. They'll just say, I'm not concerned.
saying,
because
"Bring it on."
anyone silly enough to eat me isn't going to eat another corroboree frog or any
So
frog.
if I
for
had one of
that
those, that'd be all over Red Rover.
Probably, yes, because these guys have the third most toxic compound on Earth in their skin.
Gee.
So
Lord.
frogs produce
They
two.
look so cute.
Pretty.
Lovely.
But frogs deal with their environment through their skin, as Julie said, and they breathe through their skin, they drink through their skin, but they also combat whatever's going on in the world through their skin. So their resistance to everything external is by putting chemicals on their skin to protect themselves. Chemicals to protect themselves from predators, in this case, chemicals to protect themselves from viruses, funguses, bacteria, and actually many of the new medicines that we're getting are coming from frogs. So there's quite a few medicines coming out now for frogs, including the most powerful painkiller ever discovered, 100 times more potent than morphine, has just been put into use coming from a frog.
Wow.
What can we do to help? Is there anything we can do to help with this disease?
Good question.
There's certainly, with a frog like this that's stuck in a high mountain peak, no, there's not much that can be done to help. But for many frogs, they're living in your backyard, they're living in your habitat, and they just need some support while they try to cope with the disease. Any creature is going to cope with something coming in that's new, but they need some support from other things. So support from the drought, support from the other issues that are happening, some more habitat, because it's hard for some of these guys in Melbourne when you look at a frog like this one in here, there's a few of them burrowing around in there, and you look at these little guys.
That's a bonking frog, isn't it?
This is a frog called a pobblebonk, and the pobblebonk you'll find all over the place in Melbourne, burrowed underground, and people don't see them during the dry weather.
They're the ones that make all the noise at night.
Yes, you'll hear them going bonk, bonk, bonk. And that's the male.
Thought that was my husband.
Yes. And so I get people ringing me up all the time saying, you know, we can't sleep, there's something bonking out in our garden and keeping me up all night, and it's the male frog calling out for a mate.
Don't be cross about it.
No, that's what you've got in your garden. So if you hear bonking in the night, it's a very good thing, and it means you've created some habitat for frogs. So one of the things people can do, certainly, is help these little guys by allowing them to have extra habitat, extra places to live, your own backyard, wetlands near you, whatever you can do, that is going to support them against the other problems they face.
Control your pets as well.
Yeah.
Cats and dogs are a big issue in the city.
Particularly cats, probably.
Yeah,
Chemical uses, many of those things are a threat to frogs.
Can I just say ARC, which
we're out of time, just very quickly.
Yeah, the ARC. You can go to frogs.org.au. Is that right?
Frogs.org.au.
Yeah, to find out all about bonking in the garden, how to make your garden frog friendly, and all the things that you can do to make a difference. Frog Watch, the frog census that they have, it's all very fascinating.
And you can
Thank
join
you
the frog
so
census
much.
and help us look for frogs too. That's a
Yeah,
good thing.
good. All right, thank you so
Thanks,
much
Jerry.
for
Thanks,
that.
Julie.
And we'll be right back on the other side of this.